Welcome aboard, everybody. Happy Sunday, and I cannot find the theme music, so I am going to sing the Sunday Night Live theme song to everybody. Da, 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 da. Woo! All right, there we go. I sang the theme song for us tonight. For those who I haven't met, I am Richard Nongard, and my co-host is Scott Sandland, and tonight our guest is Steve G. Jones. And every Sunday night we get together, and our purpose in getting together every Sunday night is to talk about hypnosis, to learn a few things, some techniques, some strategies, and of course, to also have the opportunity to experience hypnosis as well. And I've already talked to Steve G. Jones before we started, and he has agreed at the end of our webcast, just like we always do, to guide us through a process of hypnosis. So by the end of today, you will be able to say, wow, I have gotten the opportunity to experience hypnosis with Steve G. Jones. And we'll go to Steve here in just a minute. But Scott, welcome aboard from sunny Southern California. How's the hypnosis world out there?
The hypnosis world out here is hot. It's 95 degrees in sunny Southern California this weekend. So there's been a lot of beach time and a lot of pool time and a lot of laptop and not office time the last couple of days. But I am definitely not complaining.
Awesome. Now, right below the video that you're watching is a chat box, and you can feel free to change your name in there. Some of the great moderators, Fable and Aaron, will help you figure out how to change your name, and you can ask any questions if you'd like to, really at any time throughout this whole webcast. And the reason why I asked Steve to be our guest tonight, and I'm going to let Steve, you introduce yourself here in just a moment, but the reason why I asked Steve to join us tonight is I think it's my theory that probably Terry Stokes has hypnotized more people in stage hypnosis than anyone else. Okay, he's been doing it for 45 years at Las Vegas and the Fair, etc. I think it's fair to say that Steve Jones has probably had more people experience hypnosis through MP3s and CDs than probably anyone else. So a lot of hypnotists don't know who Steve G. Jones is, but the people out there who are buying hypnosis recordings and using them to overcome problems do it. He's probably hypnotized via recording more people than probably any other hypnotist. I find that alone to be fascinating. So Steve, if you take a minute for those who don't know who you are, to introduce yourself, to say who you are, and really tell us anything you want to about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Steve G. Jones. I'm a hypnotherapist. I've been practicing since the 1980s. My background is a psychology degree, bachelor's degree, master's in teaching, and a doctorate in teaching. Since mostly these days I'm overseeing our certification programs. I've written 25 books on hypnosis, created about 9,000 hypnosis recordings now, and we have over 22 different certification programs in such topics as hypnosis and NLP and life coaching and business coaching. And I've been featured on Millionaire Matchmaker 3 times on Bravo, and Below Deck on Bravo as both a millionaire and a hypnotherapist. And I'm all about helping people, and I'm honored that you guys invited me on the show.
Sure, well, it's great to have you. You know, you and I have been friends for a number of years, and one of the things that I always enjoy is when I walk through my living room and I turn on the TV. One day my wife knows you too, my wife said, hey, Steve Jones is on TV. I said, no, you got to be kidding me. I go back out there, and there you are once again. But I love the opportunity to see hypnosis helping people on TV, whether it's Tom Silver working on the Housewives of Beverly Hill, or you working with couples or individuals on Matchmaker Millionaire and some of the other shows I've seen you on. Scott, you, as the creator of hypnothoughts.com, get to see a lot of people have a lot of conversations about hypnosis, and some people have even had conversations about Steve G. Jones. So what would you like to ask Steve?
Well, first, Steve, thank you for agreeing to do this tonight, and also Steve is going to be one of our presenters at HypnoThoughts Live this year in Vegas. Steve came to the conference last year, and he and I had a great dinner together, and we were hanging out for a little while. And he said, I want to get involved in this thing, and I said, that's awesome. Steve's going to be giving a talk on Friday on internet marketing and that sort of genre of stuff. So make sure to check that out, because as I think everybody who's watching this live, I'm just looking at the chat room, every name I recognize who isn't still at a default name, every name that I'm seeing knows who Steve is and knows that Steve's got a reputation for putting out internet products and being successful at it. So, Steve, I just want to start off with asking you a bunch of questions that I know people have. And the first question I have for you is, all the money, all the product. You just said you've got thousands of MP3s and you're a millionaire, right? And you're not embarrassed about being successful in either one of those categories. You've got goals and you're achieving them. Defend that. Explain why it's okay to be this ambitious.
Well, I think every human should strive to be the best that they can be. That's why I went as far as I could in education, all the way through the doctorate. That's why I created so many hypnosis recordings. The money is just a byproduct of helping people. The more people you help, the more money you get. So it's sort of a scorecard. If you're working with a few people locally, you'll get a few dollars. If you're working with a bunch of people globally, you'll get a bunch of dollars. So the defense is kind of built in that I'm just doing my part and helping as many people as I can.
I think the flip side of that, too, is that our clients are aspiring to be their best, and I think that we can model that as well. I think that, in working with licensed mental health professionals for the last 20 years, a lot of them are used to, community service, community counseling. You have your degrees in education. I might add, by the way, they are from legitimate schools. Am I correct that it's North Georgia State University?
Yeah, Georgia Southern University, yes. And my undergraduate degree is from the University of Florida.
Sure.
And they are Carnegie-rated real schools, not diploma mills, correct?
Sure. I just wanted to clarify this. This is sometimes an issue in the hypnosis business. But we model for our clients success. And whether it's financial success or emotional success or business success or just personal success in our own organization, clients respond to that modeling. Now, here's the interesting thing. I got an email from you the other day, or from your autoresponder or whatever else. But, and by the way, I use those too. It's impossible to email everybody all the time. But you told your story in that email, and your story was that you grew up in a family with an alcoholic father or stepfather, and things weren't particularly easy for you, and you learned how to be resilient by using hypnosis. I think that's a fantastic story. Kind of share with us where you came from and how hypnosis helped you go from sort of an awkward kid in an alcoholic family to being somebody who has had business, relationship, success with many clients.
Sure. I never really was that great of a student, for example. I failed ninth grade algebra because I was more interested in Susie Diaz, who sat next to me, than I was in what Mrs. Jeffers was talking about during algebra class on the board. So I failed ninth grade algebra. That got me sent to military school, and not behaving well. So I went to military school for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. I wasn't very involved there either, although they forced us to be reasonably involved. My heart wasn't in it. And then I got a book on hypnosis, The Complete Guide to Hypnosis, by a PhD psychologist named Leslie LeCron, who's no longer with us. It wasn't really complete. It was enough to get a high school kid on his way to a career. And so I started hypnotizing my roommates. And soon the smart kids came to me wanting to study more efficiently. The athletes came to me wanting to exercise more efficiently. So all these years later, that was the early 80s, all these years later, it's the same thing, except now the smart kids are NASA and the athletes are the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So if I may jump over, you're obviously, like I said, you're talking on internet marketing at HypnoThoughts Live, and you really do have, you're getting in with NASA and the Dodgers and these big things, and is it fair to say that Steve Jones is as much an individual as it is you've sort of branded yourself and you've built successfully this sort of empire around this brand of this person? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of like when I went to summer camp. My parents sent me to summer camp also in addition to military school. There's a theme of trying to get me out of the house. And at summer camp, I remember everyone would write their name on the ceiling of the cabin we were in. Well, I did that too. I wrote my name. And back then I was just Steve Jones and not Steve G. Jones. So I just wrote Steve Jones. And then I realized, you know what? This cabin's going to be around here long after I'm gone. I'm going to write it a few more times. So I started writing it everywhere, all over the cabin. And there was no rule about it. You were encouraged to sign your name. I just wrote it everywhere. And so that's the same philosophy I bring to the internet. I want to write my name everywhere. I want to be a part of everything. I want to be involved in as much as I can, because why not? Why limit yourself? You know, a lot of people think that in life you can only write your name one time. You can write as many times as you want every day of your life. So that's what I do. But I always make sure it's coming from a place of quality and helping people, because I want to bring into the world something that's, yeah, branded with my name on it, but it's also something that's also going to add to the things that help people.
Sure. By the way, speaking of branding, I think that's really important as well. There are probably a lot of Steve Joneses on the planet. You can go to the internet website and find out how many people share your name. By the way, it's just me and my son, which is kind of nice, because if you Google me, you actually get me. But I bet you we don't know the middle initial of most of the Steve Joneses, but everybody knows your middle name starts with G. So here's the question, the $25,000 question to be specific. What does G stand for?
Gangsta.
There you go. Best answer on the show yet.
Best answer you could have said. That's wonderful.
Okay, it's Gregory is the answer. Gregory.
Okay, there you go.
Well, Richard just brought something up. Richard said the $25,000 question. You have on your website that you charge $25,000 an hour. Obviously, that's strategic because you're a smart guy. How many people are taking you up on it? Why is it on your site? What are you doing with that? Because, well, I want to hear about this. And should I do it too?
Well, yes, you should absolutely do it. I'm no longer in the model where I'm trading time for money. You know, I won't trade my time for money unless it's a lot of money. Now, here's the logic behind it. If I spend, it's for a 2-hour session, first of all, so you get 2 hours with me for $25,000. If I spend 2 hours in a recording studio, I will probably generate over the course of my lifetime from that 2 hours in the studio approximately $1 million. So 2 hours of my time is actually worth currently about $1 million over the scope of my lifetime. If I spend that time with one person, that's an opportunity cost. I've missed out on that opportunity, and this person is taking all of my time and taking me away from these tens of thousands of people whom I can help over my lifetime by being in that studio. So they should have to pay for that. There should be a charge for that. Now, I'm not going to charge them $1 million, but I charge $25,000 because I think that's very fair. Also, I'm no longer, when I had my office in Beverly Hills in the Roxbury Medical Building, I was seeing clients for, you know, stopping smoking and losing weight and the standard stuff. But now it's executives, CEOs, movie producers, and I'm not allowed to name names or anything like that. But these are the people who are coming to me because they're the ones who can afford the price tag, and they also have a lot of friends who can also afford that price tag who they refer to me. So I do it for a number of reasons, and I want to also talk about the marketing aspect of it. Number one, my time is valuable. I'd much rather be in a recording studio helping the entire world than just helping one person. Number two, yes, it's great for marketing because the perceived value of my $80 recordings goes up because I'm charging $25,000 to be with me. If you want to work with me one-on-one, by the way, I think Tony Robbins is like $60,000 for an hour, so I'm actually pretty cheap. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you know, it's going to cost you. So suddenly the $80 recording doesn't look as expensive. But I encourage everyone, once you're at that point where you don't need to trade your time for money, then why not raise it up? It's going to get you more free time because you're going to have a lot fewer clients. It's going to raise the perception of value, and you're also going to feel better about yourself because you are just charging more and you're owning your worth.
Okay, so let me ask you. So that, by the way, thank you. That's a great answer to that. Let's take a random person who's listening to this, Joe Blow hypnotist, who's either watching this live right now or they're watching the recording later this week, and they just got started a couple years ago. They're barely making ends meet. They're loving the work. They're getting good results. But they know that there's a lot more potential for them financially in terms of making a living doing this and making a great living doing this. And they've heard of, people like you, or to a lesser degree, Richard and I, who have made very comfortable livings doing this. What's the piece of advice you'd give them on what to do next? They're good at hypnosis, and they've got cash flow taken care of. How do they get from there to whatever's next?
Okay, well, realize that cash flow can be very labor-based. You know, I don't like labor-based models. I don't like to have to go to an office to make my money, because what if I'm no longer able to go to that office, or what if I decide I don't want to go to that office? So I'd first ask them to analyze their cash flow. Where's it coming from, and how sustainable is it if they get sick or they just want to take some time off? And I then encourage them to, right after they finish listening to this, to go get the microphone with their computer and record their first MP3 and get it up on their website and start selling it, and watch the money come flooding in and see how easy it is to go from where they are to making millions of dollars a year as a person who's helping not just the person they're seeing in the office, but the entire world. Now, yes, that's going to be gradual. They're not going to go from rags to riches, but that's what I would encourage them to do.
Yeah, and my model, in 1983, maybe it was 1984, I was a senior in high school. Actually, I graduated in 83, so it was right after I graduated from high school. I recorded a progressive muscle relaxation cassette tape, and I sold it from the back of the National Enquirer for $2 in a self-addressed stamped envelope. I couldn't mail the cassette in the envelope, so I'd rip the stamps off and use them for other stuff and send them my own package. But I was making money because postage was cheap, and it was only costing me less than $1 to make it. And here's the interesting thing, just for nostalgia, I actually still sell that same recording. So here's the interesting thing. One day I recorded it, and it was difficult back then. You needed a lot of equipment. You can do it now on a Mac or using Audacity on a PC in 5 minutes. But I'm still making money off those. My golf MP3 that is currently for sale is something I recorded about 8 years ago. And I've always said it's a lot easier, instead of trying to find the product to make you $1 million, make 1,000 products that make you $100, and it's the same money. Let me turn for a minute away from the business side of things. One more question from Adam. Adam Kilgore asked a great question. You have a lot of testimonials on YouTube, or on not only all over your website and things like that. The question is, in internet marketing, how important are testimonials?
Very important, because I could toot my horn all day and I could say, oh, I'm wonderful, oh, I'm great, people had success. That's meaningless. If people don't know me personally, they don't know if that's true or not. So third-party testimonials are highly important when it comes to selling a product, or just promoting yourself. People don't want to hear you toot your own horn. They want to hear what others have to say.
Sure. Now, by the way, just I can ask you questions and talk to you all day, and I know Scott has some questions for you too. But every Sunday night we get together here at the Hypno Store to talk about hypnosis, to learn about hypnosis. The chat box is down below. If you ever miss an episode, you can always come back and watch the archive. Right above us is a link, and that's actually a link to 5 of Steve Jones's MP3s. Here's the cool thing. These are the Platinum Edition that include binaural technology, and those of you who know me know I'm a big fan of that. But instead of $80 a piece, that's what it costs on his website, he said that I could offer it for whatever I wanted to in the Hypno Store this week. And so I put 5 of them together for, I think, a whopping $18 or $18.50 or something close to that. So if you're interested in hearing his recordings, they're an hour long, and that's the other thing. Perceived value. You're not creating 30-minute or 20-minute recordings. These are, I've listened to them. They are, if anyone wants to follow a model of an excellent recording, yours are excellent. And people know I make my own, so I have a good basis to judge what's a good recording. So that link is above, and if you want that opportunity, Steve has made that available to us on the Hypno Store, and that link is right above the top of the page here. Scott, what do you want to find out from Steve while we have him here about hypnosis? Steve does have a lot of knowledge of hypnosis, NLP, etc.
He does, yes. First of all, thank you for those recordings, and thanks for the generosity in helping the Hypno Store's idea of being generous to hypnotists. You mentioned the Cron book. What are you reading these days? What are you looking at in terms of what's out there? Are there hypnotists, or is there work that's exciting you, or are there areas, other professionals or topics that you're really curious about right now?
Well, these days I read a lot of theoretical physics. My favorite author is Michio Kaku, who's the Japanese guy who's on all the science shows these days. So I read a lot of that, just a personal interest of mine. As far as hypnosis goes, I really don't think anything groundbreaking has come out in a long time, like 10 or 20 years. And one of the things I do my best to stay away from are things that are better in the realm of a therapist, like better in the realm of what Richard would do as a licensed therapist, because there tends to be some crossover, a little bit too much in my opinion, between hypnosis, which is very straightforward, and all these other things that are from therapy, and I think that's not only dangerous, but it's just really not a good idea. So I'm not currently reading any therapeutic books. Every now and then somebody will suggest something, and I will check it out. But I'm not excited about any new things coming along. If they're new and they prove themselves over time, like EFT, emotional freedom technique. I think that was the last thing I got excited about. I don't practice it, but I thought when I first heard about it, I thought, okay, interesting. And then I started hearing mainstream therapists talking about it, and then I started seeing the data on it from actual studies. Interesting. So I refer people to people who do that.
Cool. Sure. Cool. I've got another. I just want to, forgive me, but I just want to keep picking your brain on business and what you've done, because I mean you're the top of the list, right? You're the guy, and I've got an opportunity to ask you. I'd be foolish not to. How do you make a great product, right? Because all three of us are big fans of binaural beats and that kind of stuff. Walk me through making your product. You said it takes 2 hours in the recording booth, but give me beginning to end on coming up with the idea to it's on your website. Let me put you out of business tomorrow with what information you give me right now.
Absolutely. Well, we have two different ways of approaching things. The way we used to do it and we currently do it. So I'll tell you the way we currently do it. Currently, we're highly sophisticated. We're highly specialized. I don't even work in marketing. I work in production. So I meet with the marketing guys every now and then. But what happens is they do some marketing research. They find out what's hot, because you don't want to sell something that nobody wants to buy. For example, my Overcome Fear of Wedding Stress recording doesn't sell very well. We didn't know that at the time. Nowadays we know. So we find out what's hot and what's not. We get a short list of what's hot. We then have somebody create an outline. My assistant then looks over the outline, then gets sent to me. Then I flesh it out. I make sure that my beliefs are congruent with what we're talking about. If we're going to partner with someone else, we contact them and see if they want to partner. And then we go ahead and go into production, which I just record it. I then send it to my sound engineer. She edits it. My assistant then audits the edit, and that goes back and forth, auditing and editing until it's just right. And then then at the same time, the marketing team is developing the website, talking to our joint venture partners who are going to promote it. And then it gets launched. That's the way we currently do things. But if you want to put me out of business, here's what I would do. This is what we did about 10 years ago when we redid my hypnosis recordings. I spent about a year in the recording studio, and we had a lot of customer questions that time. Do you have a recording on blank? Overcome fear of clowns, overcome fear of frogs, hypnosis, confidence. Some sounded a little wacky, some sounded more mainstream, but they were all legitimate customer-driven products that we created because people wanted to know if we had it, and a lot of times it didn't exist anywhere on the internet. So we got that list together. I took about a year. I recorded all of these. I got 2 college graduate sound engineers. I built a recording studio in my house in Savannah, Georgia. We used Pro Tools. We used a Rode mic. We used all the good stuff, all the right stuff. And then we went through this very scrutinizing process of auditing. That's how my system became so good at auditing. And then we put them online. And we had no idea that they would sell that well. And then we put them online at a discount, and they sold even better. So we just kept doing that. We kept creating quality products, and we have the advertised price, and then every now and then we have a sale. So if you want to put me out of business, that's the way to do it.
By the way, here's the misnomer in that whole thing, and that is that we have the ability to put each other out of business. This is the exciting thing about hypnosis. There are over 7 billion people on the planet Earth. You said you have 90,000 recordings out there.
9,000.
That means there are 6,999,999,000 people who still can benefit from hypnosis. And so the reality is, when you're successful, or somebody in the chat room, whether it's Kelly Woods or Adam Kilgore or Gil or Casey or Jack or Donna Carter or Alan Barsky, who's somebody who I've learned a lot from, Casey Corbin, Rick Paddock up in Milwaukee, Stephanie Skiba in my office, we all have the ability to be successful because everybody on the planet is a potential beneficiary of what we have to offer, and none of us can possibly reach everybody, which is, by the way, I think the philosophy of hypnothoughts.
Yeah, it absolutely is a philosophy of hypnothoughts. I mean, the idea is, you know, the rising tide raises all boats, that kind of thing, and hypnosis isn't in a place, I think all of us would agree, hypnosis isn't in a place where we are at max capacity, so there's just nothing but room for all of us. Which is awesome, and that's why this is now Richard and I doing it together instead of both of us doing ones that compete with each other, which is unnecessary. But I've got another question, and this is a question when I said that I was going to be, sorry, I'm just hammering you with these. When I said I was interviewing you, this was the question that I got from 2 people, and it's really interesting because, and I called them on this. It was a really there was a little bit of a sour grapes kind of thing, where they said, well, sure, it's easy for Steve to make a recording and make a bunch of money on it because he's got a huge list, and he was first to market or early on first to market. What do I have a chance? So how early were you? What percentage of your success do you attribute that to? And what would you say to somebody who said that?
Well, you know, with all due respect, that doesn't really make any sense, what they said, first of all. And I'll explain why. I mean that with all due respect. There's so many people turning 18 every day who are then adults, and they can buy these goods and services that we're promoting. When I started, my email list was like 6,000 people, I think. 6,000, that was it. You know, these days, the list that I control is somewhere around 30, 40,000, and then the list that my main marketing company, which is actually a separate company, the list that they control is 500,000. We didn't have that when I started. We started with 6,000 people, and then the first sale we had, just to give you some numbers, not trying to impress, but just so we can understand what we're all talking about.
You're great.
6,000 people list. In 3 days of putting my recordings on sale at half price, I raised $60,000 from 6,000 people. So that's a tiny list. That was in 2007, I believe. That was pretty late in the game. I mean, people who really got in early on the internet, that is, selling those things on the internet, were in around 2000, as was I, but I didn't understand the email marketing aspect of it. And so I just had a website collecting emails. The main thing you need to do, and I always talk about this with hypnotherapists and anyone else in holistic health, you've got to start collecting emails, and you've got to have a compelling reason to get their email. You know, if you go to any of the hundreds of websites that I have, my main one or any of the other ones, there's a compelling reason to give your email address. You give that, and we're going to give you something free. You've got to give that giveaway, and then you start marketing to them, and you don't hold back. You market every day to them. So it's just a matter of pushing. You know, you've got a great product, you've got to push it. So create the great product and push it. Don't worry about the size of your list. Don't worry about when you started. There are new people becoming adults every day. The playing field is always the same.
That's a perfect answer. Thank you very much. Like I said when I asked it, I knew it was sort of a sour grapes answer, and I said it to them at the time. But I think that you're one of the big names in the profession, right? Because you're on TV. There aren't very many of us who are on TV, and when you're up there, it's easy for people to throw rocks or roses. And I think it's a great opportunity for you to express, you know, you worked hard for all this stuff. This stuff didn't just get handed to you, and I appreciate that. And like someone said in the chat before we started, I think it was Kelly, but I'm not sure. It was a while ago. She said, make sure to thank Steve for all his YouTube videos that have sent me clients, right? And I think that's an important point, that you're on TV and my phone rings, right? Because they're not all going to spend $25,000 for 2 hours. A lot of them are going to want to come to, those of us who are doing day ins and day outs. So I think it's worth us saying thank you to you as we have this chance to. So thank you to you.
By the way, Kelly also asked another question, and that was, I think she actually wanted to make babies, and I said they would be cute babies. That's all going on in the chat room. But she asked if you do any products for children. Do you do any products for children, Steve?
Yes, we have the Life Stages series. You can just Google Steve G. Jones Life Stages. We have them for all ages. We even have them for unborn children, just in case. I mean, the research is a little iffy on whether or not playing something while the baby's still in the womb, if they can even hear it, but we have that anyway, just in case, and a lot of people are into that. The idea is after the baby is born, they can listen to it then. I know they'll hear it then. But we have from age pre-born to age 100 plus in the Life Stages series, yes.
Sure.
And they're divided into 10-year increments. The challenges you would face in each of those 10-year increments. The teen years, 20s, 30s, 40s, etc.
Yeah. I don't want to get into all the rules on email marketing. Somebody asked some questions, and I think that anybody who uses an email list like Aweber, GetResponse, or Constant Contact, those providers will give you answers on what you can and cannot do to help you become list compliant. But somebody asked the question, every country has their own rules, and if you're emailing from one country to another country, how's it enforced? Those are not the scope of tonight. But somebody asked, and this is a question I asked you in a private conversation we have, can you email people too much? What happens? What's the value of email marketing?
Well, the value of email marketing is to tell people what's going on and to make money. So you let people know what's going on. I mean, how many McDonald's commercials would you see if you sat in front of the same network television station in a 24-hour period? You would see a lot. Why is that? Everybody knows about McDonald's. Why would they advertise that much? It's because you've got to keep it in front of them. You've got to keep it front and center. So email marketing is kind of our opportunity to do something like that, to keep the product front and center. You don't want people to forget. You want people to be aware. Also, my email list is designed to keep people informed about hypnosis, yes, but it's also designed to generate money. So the emails go out, and we've got a product offering, and we're generating money. If you don't want to be on the list, you can opt out. People will still know where to find me if they want my stuff, so opting out isn't a problem. We email at least once a day, minimum once a day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. There is no maximum that I know of. Once you have their email, once you have their permission, there's no maximum. But the mistake a lot of marketers make is they'll email once a week or once a month because they'll think, well, every time I send an email, I lose some people. Well, you haven't lost people. You've lost subscribers, and they still know who you are, and they know where to find you if they want. Every time I send an email, I make a lot of money. And I help a lot of people because there are a lot of people who want my help. So I encourage people to let go of fear. These things are fear-based. I'm going to lose subscribers. I'm going to make people mad. Now, Richard, you and I talked about a list that you have of mental health therapists. You don't want to email a list like that every day because these are fellow professionals. They're not customers. These are people in your field. So you wouldn't, email your friends every day. But people who signed up to your email list, they know the deal.
Every day. Facebook.
Sorry?
I said, I don't know. I Facebook you every day.
You do what now, Richard?
I said I send you a message on Facebook every day, right? I guess not. But.
Yeah, you bombard me every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, and I love it.
And you've never always subscribed for my page, so that's good.
Hey, just be glad we finally got him to stop texting and driving, so he's not sending us as many text messages as he used to. That was a thing for a while, but now we've got him. We hypnosis to cure him of that.
After he totaled that car, yeah.
There you go. Fortunately, the car I totaled while texting and driving was a rent-a-car, so I was in good shape. I used my Visa, so I had zero deductible.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, every Sunday night we get together, talk about hypnosis, and have a chance to experience hypnosis and learn some ideas and techniques and learn by doing. Tonight we've talked a lot about internet marketing, something that is important to hypnotists because it helps us get the word out there about hypnosis. And that's really great. But Steve's going to actually take a minute and guide us through a session so that we have the opportunity to experience hypnosis here tonight while participating in this webcast. But before we do that, right above here is a link, and that is to Steve G. Jones's platinum recordings. Are usually $79 a piece. You can get it for half off if you're on his list every once in a while. That's still $35 a piece or something like that. I'm not real good at math. But Steve has made available to those of you who are part of the Hypno store here, Subliminal Science, HPTI, right up here at the top, 5 of his platinum recordings for $29. I was wrong earlier, so it's $29, which is still a hell of a deal. So that is available. And then just a couple other things. If you're interested in Hypno Thoughts Live, you get a chance to learn from Steve G. Jones. I'm going to be teaching a class. Kelly Woods is going to be teaching a class. And Scott, is it just the 3 of us, me, Kelly, and Steve Jones, or are there other people?
No, it turns out there's quite a few more. It turns out we're going to have a little over 300 hours of classes. So we'll be busy. But you and I are teaching before that. You and I are teaching in May in Daytona Beach. You and I are teaching a one-day class at the IMDHA conference on addiction and being the hypnotist on staff in addiction facilities.
Which is something, of course, that both of us have done and that many people have an opportunity to do.
Yeah, and right now is the time to be doing that with what's going on with insurance. You guys will hear about that if you come for that class in IMDHA's conference in May.
Sure. Well, I'm glad everybody has participated tonight. I want to thank everyone for that. I want you to have a chance to experience hypnosis, and usually you have me or you have Scott guiding us through a process. We're fortunate enough to have Dr. Steve G. Jones with us tonight. And so, Steve, I'm going to give you the floor. Would you be so kind as to guide us all through an experience of hypnosis that can benefit us all as we go forth through the rest of the week?
Absolutely. This reminds me of when I was a preacher, and we'd ask someone to lead us in prayer. Yes, the way you put that, I'd be honored to, Richard. How long would you like the hypnosis session to be?
Well, time distortion in hypnosis, you could do it for an hour and make it feel like it was 2 minutes, or you could do it in 2 minutes and make it feel like an hour. But if you take 5 or 7 minutes or so, that's usually about what we take, just to go through a process. So I know that you and Joe Vitale have been working on some projects regarding wealth creation. We've talked about success in business. So maybe you take 7 minutes or so and guide us through a process that can empower us to achieve our highest level of potential over the next couple of days, weeks, and months.
I like that. I like that. You talk very hypnotically, Richard. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Well, I watched some videos from some guy named Steve Jones on YouTube and learned a little bit about it.
Oh, that guy sent me a lot of business. All right, so we'll do about 7 minutes, and we will then I'll do it on wealth creation, just enhancing our wealth possibilities. I think that's wonderful. And before we start, of course, if you're in a moving vehicle, you should not listen to this now. If you're doing anything, you should either stop what you're doing and sit or lie down in a comfortable position where you won't roll out of anything, where you're stable. If you're not able to do that, then you need to listen to this some other time, because we're going to do a hypnosis session now in which you need to close your eyes and you need to relax. So it's not suitable for driving or jogging or anything else. So my understanding is that if you're still listening to me, you are in a stable position. You're sitting down or lying down in a position where you're stable, you won't fall out of anything, and you can go ahead and close your eyes. And as you do, I'd like you to take a deep breath in through your nose, inhaling deeply, expanding your lungs, and open your mouth slightly and exhale very slowly. And then when you're ready, another deep breath in through your nose, inhaling very slowly. Hold it. And when you're ready, open your mouth and exhale very slowly. And then continue breathing easily, effortlessly, and comfortably. And the more I talk, the more you relax as you now imagine yourself on a beautiful island. This is your island. You are safe. You are relaxed. You are at ease. And you notice the beautiful blue sky and occasional white wispy clouds. And as you walk down to the edge of the water, you feel that warm sand on the soles of your feet. You smell that unmistakable, salty air. It feels so good to be here right now. You on your beautiful island, just relaxing, unwinding, and letting go. feeling that gentle breeze on your body and the warmth of the sun overhead. And between that breeze and the sun, the temperature is just right. And as you walk down closer to the water's edge now, you feel your body relaxing from head to toe. And feel the relaxation starting in the top of your head, moving down slowly as you walk. As you listen to the waves, you feel the relaxation moving down to your shoulders now and down your arms. So very relaxed as you stand now at the edge of the water. Relaxation moves down into your chest, your abdominal area. As you begin to walk along the water's edge now, it seems as though every step relaxes you more and more deeply. Relaxation moves down your legs all the way down to the tips of your toes as you continue walking, relaxing, unwinding, allowing my voice to relax you more and more deeply. And I invite you now to find a safe, dry, comfortable place on that beach where you can sit away from the water yet facing the water. Because the sun is about to set at the end of this beautiful day. In just a few moments, I'm going to count backwards from 10 to 1. And as I do, the sun will slowly set on the horizon. So you now find that safe, dry, comfortable place where you can sit. And as you face the horizon, you notice the sun slowly setting on the horizon. As I count backwards now from 10 to 1, sun sinks lower and lower with every number I count. And with every number I count, you relax more and more deeply, so that the lower I count, the lower the sun goes. And the lower the sun goes, the more you relax, deeper, deeper, and more deeply relaxed now, starting with number 10, and the sun sets on the horizon, begins to sink lower and lower. 9, down, down deeper and deeper, relaxing more and more now. 8, so very relaxed as you allow your mind to drift and float. 7, down, down goes the sun as you relax more and more. 6, 5, down, down, deeper and deeper, relaxing more and more. 4, 3, so very, very relaxed now as the sun has almost set completely on the horizon. 2, and at the count of the next number, the sun will have set on the horizon, and you will be completely relaxed. All right, now 1. The sun has set completely and you are at ease. And because you are relaxed and at ease, your mind is open to unlimited possibilities. I'd like you now to imagine your body. Think about it now and imagine rising above your body and moving into the future, whichever direction that may be for you. As you relax and unwind, I want you to imagine just moving into the future very slowly now. And I want you to arrive at a point in the future when you have achieved many of your financial goals. You feel yourself setting back down at that time in the future. This is very real for you. The sights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes, how your clothes feel, how the atmosphere feels, how you feel emotionally is all very real for you now. As you take a moment to notice how successful you are financially, and looking back all the way to the present, you see the simple, easy steps that you had to take in order to get here, to this fulfilling future. You now realize how many lives you had to affect positively in order to become financially successful. You now realize that you had to let go of fear. You had to take chances. You had to believe in yourself. You had to believe in others. And it all seems so simple and easy now as you see all of those steps, as you look back to the present, you see them all. You know how to do it now. You understand how to do it. You will create this compelling future. You will allow yourself to be wealthy. You will allow yourself to help other people to such a large extent that you become financially successful. Feel how good it feels now. I want you to make the OK sign with your right hand, touching your right thumb, the tip of your right thumb, to the tip of your right index finger. And say the word successful to yourself now. Now you can release that. And I want you to realize that any time that you doubt yourself, any time you feel down, all you have to do is make that OK sign again by touching the tip of your right thumb to the tip of your right index finger and repeat that word to yourself. Successful. And you will immediately remember why you are doing all this. And you will have the motivation that you need to move toward this future that you have created, the future that you want, the future that you are now experiencing. And as you now feel yourself rising up and moving backwards, back now to the present, you bring with you the knowledge that you will be successful by helping other people, that you will be wealthy. This is a state that you're moving toward always. Most of the things that you do in your day from now on have something to do with you creating success through helping others. You work hard and you work smart. And as you feel yourself setting back down into your body now in the present, you have that assurance that the future is yours, that beautiful, compelling future that you want, the one in which you are wealthy. And before you go to sleep tonight, you will take one action, something you've been putting off, something that you should do, which will contribute to you being wealthy in the future, something that's good for you and all of those around you. All right now. In just a moment, you're going to return to full awakening consciousness. And if you'd like, you can remember everything about this hypnosis session. And you will act on all of the instructions you have received in this hypnosis session, coming back slowly to the count of 3 so that by the time I reach that final number, you'll be wide awake and full of natural energy. 1. Coming up feeling very good, full of natural energy. 2. Beginning to move now, beginning to stir, becoming very aware of your surroundings, very aware of where you are. And 3. Eyes open, wide awake, and completely out of hypnosis.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. That was great. And even the HypnoPanda was happy about it. The HypnoPanda was already quite wealthy in that they all get apparently $10 million for their visit to the U.S., but he's happy that he's going to move to $100 million. So
nice. I believe it. I like it.
Thank you very much.
Looks like he had a helping hand.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure, Steph. Thank you.
Yeah, it was wonderful to have you here, guys. Remember, anybody you want as a guest, any questions, any topics, any of those things you guys want, that's what this is for. This is for you guys. We're going to keep bringing in guests when you guys want them. We're going to keep finding cool people who are going to be generous like Steve was tonight. Remember, Steve is teaching at HypnoThoughts Live. He is on Friday. Let me look. I'm almost certain I know the time, but it is on Friday. It's Friday in the afternoon. So you'll be there. You'll be ready to go learn from this guy who's obviously set goals and achieved them. That's where we should all be. This is Sunday Live. That's all I've got to say. Richard, it's all yours to wrap it up.
A round of 3s in the chat room for Steve G. Jones. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. He did this tonight without us having to cough up $25,000 just to share. So we certainly appreciate you spending time with us tonight and answering questions and helping us all and guiding us through that process. That was a great session. So thank you very much, Steve. We appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at HypnoThoughts, if not next month when I'm actually in town on the 8th of April.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you, guys.
Bye now.